to Success Made to Last. I'm Rick Tocchini. This is a fun show we have this afternoon, and it is sponsored by Edward Jones Financial Advisors. Our special guest is Frank Thiessen, who is the president of Carrera, and they are the slot car kings. You know, the pandemic has caused families around the world to look for screen-free activities after a majority of the day consumed with Zoom calls and with virtual learning. Many have turned to pre-digital throwback activities such as slot car racing to provide together time that doesn't require streaming a movie or playing online games. And here to talk to us about that is Frank Thiessen from Carrera of America. Welcome, Frank.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for having me. Looking really forward to talk a little bit more about my number one favorite subject, slot car racing.
Oh, we are too, Frank. And for starters, tell us about where you're from originally and your career journey that led to your presidency there at Carrera.
As you can probably determine from my accent, so I'm not originally from the U.S. I was actually born in the homeland of the Carrera brand over in Germany many moons ago. And so after starting my career over in Germany, working there for several of the larger German retail corporations, I then switched over to a very famous retail brand in the toy sector, which I think a lot of kids have grown up with. That was Toys R Us. Working over in their German and then in the European head offices there. And then a couple of years back, or not even more than a couple of years, it was in 2004, I came over here to the U.S. to work for Toys R Us here in the U.S., spearheading their global brand management and product development department. And yeah, every good thing has an end, so we parted ways in 2014. I switched sides. Instead of on the retail side, I went to the manufacturing side, worked for a different toy manufacturer. And then since a little bit over 2 years, I'm here at Carrera and found my way back into slot car racing, which was a favorite pastime for me in my childhood. I actually got my first real Carrera set when I was a 10-year-old boy over in Germany. So, of course, when they approached me with that job offer, I just thought, cool, you played with it, and now they're paying you to play with it. What can be better?
That's right. Exactly. So, we were talking before the show, folks, and Frank and I shared in our youth the fact that we were slot car crazy people. And back in Sherman, Texas, my uncle was migrating from out of trains in his gigantic train set, and his room was converted to a slot car racing, and it became the rage of the neighborhood, and we spent more time doing it and family time. And when I got the news of Frank possibly being on the show, I jumped on it because I thought about the amount of time that we spent together and what great time it was, and what we learned from slot car racing. So, Frank, can you comment on how the pandemic has helped drive slot cars forward again?
Yeah, sure. So we definitely, so first, slot car racing, and as you already elaborated, had really its big heydays in the 50s, 60s, 70s, when there were a lot of commercial tracks around the U.S. especially. So it is estimated that by the mid-60s there were about 20,000 tracks, commercial tracks in operation where you can actually go and drive your cars there. That, of course, has slowed down in the decades following because a lot more people turn towards the screen and video games, and there's nothing wrong with a video game. That is definitely also a great pastime thing to do. But then in the last couple of years we saw again more interest coming back to slot car racing, to the actual physical experience there and to the communal experience, something to not do solitary sitting in front of a screen, but doing it together with friends and family. Then, of course, unfortunately, last year, the pandemic hit and people were stuck at home and, were quickly running out of things they could do together as a family. And then first, I think kids showed an interest in it, but also, of course, the adults, which grew up with it and remembered all the fun they had with slot car. So we saw suddenly an increase in demand, which, was multiplied to what we had experienced before, which, of course, made us happy. Also challenges, of course, to satisfy that demand, which is still continuing on until this day. But people were coming together again. There was a little bit of nostalgia. There was new interest from new fans, and everybody was getting together, not just, as mentioned before, sitting in front of the screen, but gathering around a slot car racetrack and playing together. And no matter the age, it could be the kids with the parents, the kids on itself, the kids with the grandparents, because that is something which is the great thing about slot car racing. There's no divide on age, gender, or whatever. Everybody can do it and everybody can have fun.
That's right. Your company to us means togetherness. And I got to ask you, what are the most popular selling models of cars, even though I know you probably have the same wheel system and gear system, but are there the most popular cars like there were in the 60s for us? Yeah,
of course, the big models are still the same. So you have a little bit of a difference now from what we had when we were kids. Of course, they're the true to life replicas. You have your Mustangs, you have your Corvettes and all the European models. But for the younger generation, you also now have the entertainment licenses. So we have a Mario from the Mario Kart game. We have the Minions. We have Disney cars. We have the Paw Patrol. All these kids licenses that especially our younger fans gravitate to. But that is, again, also then the beauty. So the 6, 7, 8-year-old, he can race with Super Mario against his mom or dad, which have a Ferrari. So in our world, it's completely normal that Mario passes a Ferrari once in a while.
I love that. What's the favorite color? Because ours was cherry red.
Yeah, and there's nothing really that you can determine there on the color, because there's so many variations now, and our true to life cars all carry the original liveries which you actually see in the races. Of course, Ferrari is still a number one brand, and everybody wants to drive a Ferrari, and the only color you can drive a Ferrari in is red. So,
right.
But everything else is very fluid. So you have so many different color and livery variations. So there's something for everyone in there.
Sure. You seem to be at the intersection of avocation and vocation. What would you say to our listening audience to try to find that intersection for themselves so they can be a leader and have fun, laugh, and do something significant like bringing people together over a great game or a great product?
Yeah, you really have to do a little bit of introspection. Is what do you really enjoy? And at the end of the day, it's always coming back to fun. You have to have fun in your life, and whatever that is, whatever is this that provides you that feeling, that is the path you should follow. There's, I think, not a cookie cutter way to do it, and not the same thing for everyone, but it's really about find your sweet spot. It's the only thing I can recommend there.
Very good. On this show also, Frank, we love talking about redefining success. And your career is obviously remarkable, and you're having a great time now at Carrera. what would you say to our listening audience as what would be that redefinition of success in the post-COVID-19 era?
I don't really want to sound too cheesy there, but it's really inner peace. I think in the past year, 15 months, what we all have learned is really be happy and satisfied with what you have and take a step back. I think we all are longing to do the same things again, which we were able to do 2 years ago. But to get out there, to do all these activities, to go to a concert, to go to a restaurant, well, we didn't have them in the past 15 years. So now, if you are able to do them again, appreciate them. We took too much things for granted, maybe. I think that hopefully got into the mind of some people or many people that we took, as I said, too much for granted. Appreciate things. Appreciate the little things.
Very good. It sounds like that you have achieved the good life. What does the good life sound like to you?
Good life, of course, on the private side is to have a family and on which I can rely on my friends also, to have somebody who has my back, and on the professional side to do something which I truly, really enjoy. So I do not have to come to drag myself every morning into the office and just hope that it will get 5 p.m. and I can get home. No, I truly love to go to the office. Of course, we all have sometimes our little problems at work, but 99% it's good, it's fun. And I love to work with the team I have here because they all are pulling the same strings. They all enjoy it, and it's to be able to work in a team environment where everybody appreciates the other person.
Very good. And speaking of sound, you know, when you and I were growing up, there were just a few brands that had a sound to them, and I don't know whether you remember Mattel's Vroom. Do you remember that toy?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
So here's a classic case, folks, of when a toy was named after the sound that it made. What do you think is the sound of Carrera, the brand?
The sound of Carrera is really, it's that distinctive sound when that little pin that actually slides into the slot. And you always have to remember, we're talking about scale speed in our cars. So our cars go down that track with a scale speed of 370 miles an hour. So there's a distinctive sound when that little pin slides through that. I think that is the sound of our brand.
I know that sound well. I was going to tell you, Frank, that it's the sound of I'm a winner, because it was a need for speed and the need to beat my brother at every slot car race we ever raced against each other.
Yeah, of course. I think we're all very competitive, and I think even if you think you're not, if you entertain slot car racing, and then if you're driving a couple of rounds around the track, I think you will find that little competitiveness in yourself. Everybody does that. Everybody wants to be first. And if it's just for bragging rights, that's all.
That's exactly right. Well, tell us where our listening audience can find out more about Carrera and get into the middle of what we think is one of the greatest pastimes and competitive sports available, called slot car racing.
So everybody who wants to learn a little bit more about our brand and what we can offer please go to Carrera-toys.com, and there you will see all our beautiful products and also learn a little bit about the company and about the history of Carrera and slot car racing in general.
Excellent. Hey, Frank, thank you for being on our show today. We really appreciate it. You're a fun guy, and I will also say lucky to be doing something that you love so much, and you're in the happy business too. I don't think you're in the toy business. I think you're in the happy business. So we appreciate you being on and would welcome you back at any time.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Really appreciate it for having me.
You bet. That was Frank Thiessen of Carrera, the Slot Car Kings, and make sure and check them out. That's Carrera of America. And boy, they have seen sales more than double and factories constantly working at peak capacity to meet demand. And global inventory is sold out, basically. So it's great to see the resurgence of slot car racing. That's pretty cool. Hey, thank you for joining us on today's show, and we appreciate our ongoing sponsor, Edward Jones Financial Advisors. You can go to SERBAN, MARACINE, that's Serban.Maracini at edwardjones.com today, just to find out about setting some personal financial goals with Serban. He's the best of the best, and we appreciate him. Hey, thanks for joining us on the show. As we always say, may you continue to move your life from ordinary to extraordinary. Have a great week. So thanks to our sponsor, Edward Jones. They are our trusted financial advisor. And Edward Jones has been instrumental in helping us pivot our lives built around health, happiness, travel, and adding value to other people's lives. You can contact our advisor, Serban Maracini, by emailing him at SERBAN, at edwardjones.com. And thanks again to their sponsorship of this program.